But what I wanted to kind of start off because, some news made the headlines and we mentioned it last night on the call-in show about what a new version, a new era of college football could really look like. And then Greg Sankey, who, look, regardless if you like Greg Sankey or not, he has been at the forefront of all the major changes in our sport that we love. He has been at the forefront of just, conference realignment, the renegotiation of, media rights deals, the SEC's move to ESPN kind of in that full-time capacity. And so, I'll kind of read this. There has obviously been news that has come out that, hey, there could be a 72 team league. And this is something we kind of heard about rumblings in the spring around the coaches' meetings, rumblings obviously in the summer. But everyone was kind of like, okay, that's a cool topic of conversation for a podcast, but how realistic is it? Well, if you don't know, a press release was issued yesterday about there's some advancement on that as they trick the people and the powers that be try to formulate this into more of an official capacity. And I'll kind of read this to you right here. It's, we have a complicated web of state laws that, they want to unify all of this. They want to obviously have a college football commissioner. Nick Saban and Mac Brown's name were thrown out, by the way, which is interesting. But
I think
on the
North
triple
Carolina boosters floated Mac Brown's name.
Definitely. Greg Sankey says that a centralizing power would be an attempt, and this is what he was quoted. He goes, he said it would be an attempt by the rest of the sport to catch up with the SEC. He goes, I've studied a little bit, and I come back to I don't want to dumb down the Southeastern Conference to be a part of some super league notion with 70 teams that people would speculate could happen. They want to be us, and that's on them to figure it out, not on me to bring myself back down to earth. Pretty strong words on the podcast there from Greg Sankey. Let's talk about it, Will. Your thoughts on we talked so much, earlier in the year about the 72-team league, but really on Greg Sankey and where he's taken the SEC. I know some people love it, some people don't. How do you feel about those comments and the viewpoint that he has across college football and the health that it does for this sport?
Well, certainly, if we're going to centralize the power and have a commissioner, it should be Greg Sankey because he has been the most effective. I think that's the best way to put it. Whether you like it or not, he's been the most effective commissioner of any conference. He's the longest tenured commissioner of any conference. He's been doing it for, over a decade now.
Yeah.
At the SEC. And he's a big reason why the SEC is the best conference. So I think what he's saying is true. It comes off as harsh and selfish and arrogant, but it's the truth. And that's just simply the fact of the matter. You see these other conferences, they're afraid of being left behind. So they're basically on their knees begging him to not leave them behind. And, for the good of the sport, he shouldn't do it, but he doesn't seem interested in that.
And obviously for people who don't know, this group is called the advisory group called College Sports Tomorrow has come up with a proposal that they call the College Student Football League. The FBS would be reorganized into two different conferences. You'd have the 70 to 72 primarily power conference teams, and then you would obviously have the group of 5 teams that would settle into somewhere else. Jimmy Haslam is a billionaire that it's apparently behind this. Danny White, the Tennessee athletic director, who's been outspoken on a lot of different things involving his university, has spoken, is kind of backing this. And then West Virginia President Gordon Gee there as well. So I think to your point, people don't like what Greg Sankey has done if you're not in the SEC, right? Like, and maybe even in the Big Ten, I think that they kind of like it because it's made the Big Ten. The Big Ten has said, okay, we'll call your move here. We'll add in Oregon, Washington, obviously UCLA and USC as well. They've made moves to kind of counteract that. If you're the ACC and the Big 12, you obviously don't like what Greg Sankey has done. I will say this. I agree with the comments of if you go to a centralized league, centralized leadership, it is going to dumb down the SEC. It's going to take away what makes the SEC special. The flip side of it is probably if it continues the same way, it's eliminating conferences. We've already seen that happen with the Pac-12, and it's going to take away, if you're an ACC or a Big 12 fan, it's going to take what makes those conferences respectively special in their own right. So I understand, I agree on the premise that Greg Sankey's going with here, but I think the other side of the coin is saying, wait, now, if we do what you want to do, then it's me versus you, and it's, hey, can I keep my ball and keep playing or not. And I don't think the ACC or the Big 12 would eventually be able to keep playing at the level that Sankey and the Big 10 would want to go.
No, I don't think they can. Every decision that gets made, every idea that gets floated, just pushes college football further and further away from amateurism and
Yeah.
more toward a true professional organization. And I've said it more than once on here. I think the one thing that Dabo Swinney's gonna prove to be right about was these players are going to be unionized before it's all said and done. Um, and that might be the only way to get a fair playing field, to have rules set in place for this NIL stuff, which is the driver of all of this. And that's, you see why that's why the SEC and the Big Ten have all the money and the other conferences don't.
Yeah, no, you're exactly right. I mean, they don't have the money. They're able to control. I mean, we were having a conversation in the Discord today. Some fans were asking, Georgia Tech, Miami. We know that's going to probably be a night game. What channel would they be on? They said, well, if Georgia Tech wins, it'd probably be on the ABC. And I said, not so fast, because one, LSU Alabama's that week, and that's going to be a night game in Death Valley. But the SEC is going to get the rights when it comes to ESPN in terms of getting that game on ABC in each time slot. And so it's just
noon on the CW.
Noon on the CW is what you might get, and we'll see. It'll be interesting.